The calendar says it's December 1st, first day of the last month of the year. The calendar of our tradition says it's the first Sunday in the season of Advent, the beginning of our 4-week countdown to Christmas. And the calendar of our culture says we are smack dab in the middle between Black Friday and Giving Tuesday. We're between the pitch to spend, 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 and the pitch to give, give, give. I'm sure your inbox has been full of door-crashing specials this week, matched in equal numbers by invitations to give to causes that need our help. And right on time, SSUC comes along like every other charitable organization, smack in the middle of the muddle, and calls on our coins for its annual stewardship campaign. So is it the season to spend, or is it the season to give? In the midst of advertising campaigns inviting me to buy things I don't need, or buy some clever new thing for that special someone who doesn't really need another thing either, and mailing after mailing, inviting me to contribute to valuable programs and services that make a difference, I find myself thinking about that ancient story of a poor widow giving away her last few cents. As a child who grew up in the evangelical tradition, I heard stewardship sermon after stewardship sermon that told this as a story that was a model of sacrifice and surrender. Whereas a tithe was only 10% of your giving, that was just basic. This story was the model for giving. Give everything you've got, give your all, pledge your last dime, and trust that God will provide. As I read this story now, I see something quite different. I see a poor woman being celebrated for giving what mattered to her. Because she's set up in the story as a contrast to those in her society who gave large sums they could easily live without. And in this ancient story, a poor widow earns Jesus' respect and stands in contrast to the elite who exploit her. And the unspoken truth is that their wealth has come at her expense, and those like her. Those who are described as rich are the respectable ones in the eyes of their society. They dress for success, they dine with the movers and shakers, they take pride in being on the guest lists of the rich and the famous, they make headlines for their philanthropy. They love to be noticed taking the front pew in the synagogue, relishing the respect they receive as prosperous professionals, perceived to be good people who have worked very hard to earn what they have, and they generously give from their surplus. But the teacher in the story sees them differently. They come to be seen in the right place, doing the right thing. What others see to be their generosity, he exposes as the product of their greed. They give what they can live without. They give what is surplus to them. And they've acquired what they have by exploiting those whom they were placed to protect. Their privilege has come at the expense of others' vulnerability. They may think themselves to be dignified, but Jesus counsels his disciples to respect those whose dignity is dressed in vulnerability. for Jesus, that poor widow who goes unnoticed as she gives her last cent. The one who is unseen and is among the least among them. Those who are most vulnerable in any society, those are the ones, he says, who warrant our deepest respect. Jesus neither praises her sacrificial gift nor does he condemn her submission to a system that exploits her. He simply points to her dignity and offers her his deepest respect. In its context, it's not a story about stewardship at all. It's not a veneration of sacrificial giving. It's a critique of those who receive respect and honor for giving away what they don't need, what they can live easily without. Those who are recognized to be charitable for simply casting away that which is surplus or that which generates a useful tax benefit. The story is a critique of systems and institutions that exploit the poor and the vulnerable they were designed to serve. Those who devour, the story says, the widow's property. That temple treasury to which she is contributing her pittance was originally established to compensate those like her who lost their land. It was intended to be a vehicle that could restore equality, and instead it became a mechanism to exploit the vulnerable and fill the pockets of the powerful. The fund had long ceased to serve those for whom it was created, and it became a way for the powerful to defraud the poor into giving everything to the benefit of those who already had more than enough. This is a story that places dignity and respect at the feet of those whose spirituality is lived in quiet and genuine gestures rather than flamboyant displays of piety. It's an ironic lament that in the name of the same religion, the scribes take all and the widow gives everything. It's a story that invites me into this season of giving with different questions. Do I just give away the clothes I don't want? Do I just give away the money I can live without? Do I give the food I don't particularly like to eat? The toys I'm done with? The towels and dishes I'm tired of? Do I give my spare change and my spare time? Do I give what is surplus to my needs, or do I give the things I value, things I treasure, like my privacy, my attention, my time, my energy, my convenience, my efficiency? Do I give away the things that matter to me? And do I give what brings dignity and mutuality and greater equality in the world? Despite what I was told as a child, this story is not an invitation to impoverish ourselves. It's an invitation to give. The simple gifts that genuinely matter. The places where we give up our time, go out of our way to help someone who needs something, where we give up a treasure, where we choose to give away the warmest sweater we have, not the one that's most worn. When we give our attention to the person who makes us uncomfortable. When we give the space it takes to learn the story behind a stranger's face. Because what we give our hearts to know What we give our minds to learn, that determines what we do with our time and our energy. Because our wallets just follow our hearts around, whatever's in them, whether it's little or much. To live a deeper life, to offer dignity and respect, much as Jesus did, in celebrating the gift of a poor widow. That's to be committed to a life of equality, not a lifestyle of exploitation. It's to refuse to honor the path of privilege and cherish the path of giving, genuine giving. It's to give ourselves to a lifestyle of just living, of giving that is just, not just what we can do without. The call isn't to place every coin in the offering plate or to respond to every and any appeal. The invitation is to make every coin of every kind an offering of ourselves,